purpose of conducting the school district business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Ms. Allen, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Lumpkin?
Yes.
Mrs. Currington?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore? And Mrs. Cherry?
Yes. Can we stand for the pledge, please? Pledge of allegiance. Next, we will have our mission statement read.
I'm going to ask that Marlon Howard Jr. come up and read the mission statement. Unfortunately, due to our status, we weren't able to get a student to read our mission statement. Ms. Kilgore, usually we try to get a student to read our mission statement. So my son, who happens to be a 2024 graduate of Trotwood-Madison High School, is volunteered, been voluntold. And he's so excited about it.
We can tell.
But I just want to prove that Trotwood-Madison education is worth it and he can read.
I know. Not gonna be happy with you.
The mission of the Trotwood-Madison City Schools is to graduate all students prepared to excel in a global society with a commitment to lifelong learning by guaranteeing a challenging curriculum facilitated by an innovative and dedicated staff community, participation in state-of-the-art resources in a stimulating atmosphere.
Thank you very much.
Subject item number E. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
I said,
But first, there's gonna be a change with the agenda. We're gonna have a short recess after we adopt the agenda. Are there any questions? So I need a motion?
You have it,
Okay,
and you have a second.
okay.
You ready to go?
Ms. Allen, would you call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Lumpkin?
yes.
Mrs. Currington?
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore? Yes. And Mrs. Cherry?
Yes. Motion passes that we adopt the agenda with the changes to recess at 5:33.
How long, 5, 10?
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
10 minutes. back in session. And we are on number 2, presentations for School Board Appreciation Month.
January is denoted as School Board Appreciation Month in the state of Ohio. So we would like to recognize all of our school board members for all of the outstanding work that you do and the outstanding work that we hope you plan to do, Ms. Kilgore, with regards to everyone here on the Board of Education. We have a certificate of appreciation for each of our board members. The certificate says, this certificate is presented to Deion Simmons, Trotwood-Madison City Schools, in sincere appreciation for your exemplary leadership and service to public schools, presented by Thomas C. Patterson, President, Ohio School Board Association, and Dr. Kathy McFarland, Chief Executive Officer of the Ohio School Board Association. So we have a certificate for each of you. First night, you get a certificate. That's all right. Isn't it? Aaron Lump. Luana Currington.
Thank you, Mr. Howard.
And last but not least, President Simon. Let's give our school board a round of applause.
Oh, y'all can clap better than that.
That was bad. And maybe once we adjourn, we can get everybody together with your certificate and take a picture, and we can make sure we get it in our newsletter. All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Moving on to 3, board report. I will need approval for the contract of the superintendent from January 1, 2025 through July 31st, 2029.
I'm
A second.
With the mayor. Okay.
Ms. Allen, it's been moved in second. Would you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Simmons.
Yes.
Mrs. Carrington.
Yes.
Mr. Lumpkin.
yes.
Did I mess that up?
He moved, I second.
But we both
My
said
bad,
the same
my
thing.
bad.
Give it to
Okay,
him.
We're gonna start again. Mr. Lumpkin.
Yes.
Mrs. Carrington.
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore.
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons.
Yes.
And Mrs. Cherry.
Yes, motion passes for the contract of our new superintendent, and I think we should give him a round of applause as well.
Mrs. Cherry, next one.
Yes.
For Mrs. Kilgore, what we normally do is the person that makes the motion and the person that seconds, I call them first and second, and then I go down the road, and normally I call the president last. And that's how we normally do it. You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Allen, for being so thorough.
You're welcome.
Number 4 is our treasurer's report.
This report is just for information this evening, and we had 3 meetings last month in December. December 5th was the work session, December 11th was our special meeting, and December 19th was our regular meeting minutes. So these are minutes for information, and I will bring those 3 back at our meeting on January 23rd for approval from the board. So that's all I have this evening.
I thought I knew it was. Okay, I'll keep it moving, okay.
So,
You pay 19.
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes, ma'am.
were you gonna just bring that up a little later, the next meeting date?
It's the 19th. It's fine. Number 5 is the superintendent's report.
Thank you. I have just a couple items for information this evening. The first, I'm requesting approval of an out-of-state overnight field trip to Granville, Michigan for the Junior ROTC, January 31st through February 1st, 2025, for the North Central Regional Drone Competition and out-of-state overnight field trip to Fort Meade, Georgia, on March 5th through the 9th for the 2025 National Drone Competition. I am asking the board to review that information, and we will request approval the next meeting. Item B is an approval of a donation from Gated Properties Global. The information is attached in the file. Gated Properties is the company that we were working with that was supposed to provide the internships and for students for their company. So in lieu of them not being able to provide the internships, they cut us a check for, I believe, $5,000. And item C, I am asking for action on this evening, is the personnel agenda. I sent you a copy of the personnel agenda on, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. Very short, just a few substitute teachers and a couple of resignations. And I am asking for action on the personnel agenda this evening.
I need a motion to approve the personnel agenda.
I'll second.
It's been moved in second. Ms. Allen, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Yes.
Mrs. Currington?
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore? And Mrs. Cherry?
Yes, motion passes for the approval of the personnel agenda. Number 6 is discussion items, is legislative update. And,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna make mention of the House bill.
Right. Okay, so Ms. Cherry and I did have some conversation, and I wanted to make sure that the board was up to date on some legislation that is just actually got passed in the State House. The governor actually signed off on a couple of these bills. So in your folder, as usual, I have provided a summary. The first item would be denoted as A. And what this is a summary of some of the impending legislation that the district is going to be responsible for, making sure that we implement through our policy. So what I did is provided just a very brief summary, and in that summary I've highlighted some of those key points. And I've also provided a total summary of House Bill 8, which the district is going to be, again, responsible for, which in House Bill 8, there are some controversial points, but, it is now enacted in law. I want to thank Ms. Mallory for providing the summary document that's on top of the actual details of House Bill 8. But just in general, couple points. There's going to be an amendment to House Bill 29, which are the provisions related to monitoring student activity via district devices. I don't know if you guys remember earlier in the year, we talked about we had to notify parents within 72 hours, Eric, 72 hours, if they are using if they're using our device, or if there's something on that they're using on the device that is questionable. Okay, well, a lot of districts complained. A lot of legislators, had dialogue and conversation and realized, well, we put this legislation in place and we really didn't talk to the people who have to deal with it. So what they've done is they scaled that back. So at this point, we only have to notify them within 72 hours. If it says, however, a 72-hour notice now must be provided if the district has to take responsive action, which regarding a warrant, subpoena, or the device being stolen, or a threat of life or safety. So this helps us tremendously, because every district across the state was concerned that every time a kid was at home and they looked at ESPN or something to that extent that we would have to notify them within 72 hours that their kids were accessing something that they shouldn't have been. People started talking, had conversations with the legislators, so they have scaled that back now. So at this point, only if it's something alarming, we have to notify parents. Next, accommodations for single-sex facilities, controversial item, but law at this point. Senate Bill 104, effective February 2025. There will no longer be any single-sex locker rooms, bathrooms, etc. At this point, districts must designate multi-student restrooms and locker rooms for use by members of one biological sex, male or female, and the law includes exception for single occupancy facilities, special circumstances, students with disabilities, and certain staff usage. So in essence, there is no more bathrooms where if a student was in question about their gender identity, that they would have an option. At this point, they have to use the restroom that is assigned to them upon birth. Okay? And last, House Bill 8. A lot of controversy, a lot of dialogue with regards to House Bill 8 in the State House and among school districts. House Bill 8 is intentfully known as the Parents' Bill of Rights. And within these details with regards to House Bill 8, there's a couple different points, but the ones that are probably most noticeable with regards to what districts are going to be responsible for. One, the Parents' Bill of Rights, among other things, the policy will require sexuality content to be age and developmentally appropriate, and it must allow parents to review the material and exclude their children from such content. This means anything within our libraries, our textbooks, etc. Second, there is now religious and religion. We have to develop a religious instruction policy, which this means is that under law we are going to be required. We're going to be required to adopt a policy permitting religious release time for students in our districts. So if students are, or their parents want them to have release time for Bible study, for anything related to a religious practice, we have to allow that release time. Still a lot of dynamics trying to be worked out with how that's going to look on the 14th. I believe it's the 14th. We're going to have some conversation with our policy liaison to kind of discuss what districts are doing. But this is something that has now become law, and all districts have to abide by. And the last specific aspect of House Bill 8 speaks to some aspects of mental health, and also it talks about the ability to no longer allow students to hide any mental health or sexual health concerns from their parents if parents request that information. This includes gender identification. So if students are at a point in their life where they've declared a different gender based upon what they are assigned at birth, and the parents request that information, the school district is going to be obligated to let the parents know. So as you can see, House Bill 8 is cumbersome,
Yes.
and we have to make sure that over the next several months we adhere to the implementation. But with that being said, we are going to do everything we can to get a full understanding, so we make sure that we are adhering to the law and doing what we are expected to do. There are some other, a couple other things, long-term expulsions, seizure safety in the event of a student having a seizure. And you can read those on your own, but I wanted to make sure I highlighted those aspects of, specifically House Bill 8 and Senate Bill 29. Any questions? I've provided is a summary. Again, Ms. Mallory provided that. Thank you, Ms. Mallory. And then B is the actual language of House Bill 8 from the Ohio General Assembly. If you get bored at night, you can take some time to look at that. That cover it, Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
All right,
Thank
thank you. All right. And Ms. Cherry, I want to point out, she said, Mr. Howe, you make sure you share with the board that information about House Bill 8. I said, you're right. You're right. We got to make sure everybody is up to speed on that, because that's a big one. That's a big one with regards to some of the changes that schools are going to have to implement. And that's all I have for.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Next up, board comments. Starting with board member Ms. Purrington.
So first,
Oh,
I'd
I'm
like to.
sorry.
Oh,
What you say, Ms.? I'm so sorry, Ms.
Treasurer Superintendent,
Allen,
I'm
I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Next up is the treasurer's report. And it's right.
I had a couple of items this evening. In front of you, I have my treasurer's update for January. And some good news. The first one is very, very good news. We got the release of our 2024 fiscal audit. And the audit it was clean, totally clean. No non-compliance issues, no internal control deficiencies. So really, really excited about that. I said in my report, kudos to the Trotwood-Madison staff, especially the treasurer's office, for all of their hard work this past fiscal year. So I just wanted to let you know that we're really, really proud of that, because that's very, very difficult to get. I had an opportunity today to start mentoring a math teacher that teaches at Northridge High School. He already has his treasurer's license. He looked geographically, and I think I was the closest one, I guess, for him to come. So he'll be coming to my office a couple times a week. You'll see him at the board meeting, I think, the next board meeting. And he just wants to start learning more about what treasurers do. And there's other good information that I wanted to pass on. The second item, an FYI for you, and I had to write this down. I had an opportunity today to speak with and they're called TSA Consulting Group. And what they do is they are the entity that helps us be in compliance with the IRS in terms of any 403B and 457B plans. They suggested to us that I have 7 teachers that we will be paying for their retirement incentive. They suggest to us that we adopt it's called a 401A plan in order to move that money there. It saves the district 1.45% of taxes, and it also saves the employees 1.45% of taxes. And so I wanted to just give you the information today. I will bring that next time with more information so that we can further discuss that. I just wanted to let you know that I will be doing that. So, and those are the only 2 things that I have. And I wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone, and congratulations again to our new superintendent.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Superintendent comments?
I do have a few comments this evening. I've also provided a copy of the superintendent's update for January 2025. It's a document that has the TM logo on the front. As always, just a summary of some of the things that we have going on. A list of all of the meetings that I will be attending. A list of all of the activities that would be opportunities for the board to stick their head in buildings if they would like. Ms. Kilgore, I provide one of these every month, so just at the beginning of the month, you can see all the activities and all the dates if you would like to attend. Just a couple of things. First, on the 10th, we do have, the 14th, we do have a desk review with the Ohio Department of Education of our food service program. It's one of, I believe, 2 desk reviews that we're going to have this year. So I will be meeting with Katie Bays, our supervisor, and we'll be walking through the process of that desk review. Most of the time, the desk review focuses on our purchasing processes, our meal development, just making sure we're adhering to the nutritional standards that the state requires. And that's really it with regards to some of the dates. You know, as we get back into the month of January, things are kind of slow. We're getting the kids back into the buildings, and the dates for the buildings are not as numerous as they usually are. But once we get ourselves going, you'll see those dates and have some opportunities to stick your heads in the building and see what's going on. Next, in your folders, I've provided a tad bit of information with regards to calamity days. And I may have shared this with the board before, but I wanted to make sure that it was on everybody's, at the top of everybody's, list or in your, like they say, at the top of your inbox. Because as always, when it comes to closing schools, there is some controversy sometimes that presents itself. And, over the last 3 days coming off the holiday break, we've had to close schools for 3 days. And of course, Monday and Tuesday, it was kind of understood. Wednesday, there were some technical issues here within the building. But today was, it was cold outside, but we needed to get our kids back in school. And what I provided for the board is just a step-by-step process. I think I created this in 2015 or 16 when I started the director of operations job, just to kind of give you a summary of what starts around 4:15 or 4:30 in the morning with regards to us, to us closing schools. And making sure everybody understands that it's just not an on-the-whim type of decisions. There are a lot of people that are involved, all the way from the Ohio Department of Transportation to the city of Trotwood to my folks in the operations department. We're driving the roads at 4:30, 4 o'clock, 4:15 in the morning, trying to see if we can get our buses up and running. There's a large group of people, 5 or 6 people, that are all a part of this process. And then I also have some conversation with local superintendents to see what, local superintendents do. And what some superintendents do, it may not be what we need to do. Our situation is specific to ourselves, to our district and to our children. But, it is always good to have some dialogue and conversation. And one of the things that I do want to say is specifically to, some folks who feel like it's too cold outside, and some folks on the other end who feel like kids need to be in school. I think it's important that everybody understands that some kids, some of our students, the best meal that they get of the day is when they come into our buildings. The warmest place that they are during the day is when they come into our school buildings. And the safest place that they are during the day is when they come into our school buildings. So it would be, less of me to just remind everybody of that. Sometimes you got to take yourself and your own individual feeling out of the situation. Well, it's too cold for my kid. Well, it may be too cold for all the kids, but for some of those kids, that's the first hot meal they're going to get, and the last hot meal they're going to get for the whole day. So it's important for everybody to know, and as I'm saying this, I know you guys know, but as I'm saying this and people are listening in the audience, and if they're watching, we take a lot of time and a lot of specific details are met before we close school, and it's just important that our goal is to make sure all the kids are safe and all the kids are important. So look at that, and then the last thing I have on that, the same item identified as Memo C. There was some controversy back and forth on Facebook that, I'm not a Facebook person. I don't have a Facebook account, but something about the bus stops, and, we need to get these bus stops cleared and be held accountable for the bus stops. And there was an article in the paper today, and I printed it off and shared with you guys the article today about who is responsible for sidewalks and bus stops. And it's not the school district. the school district is not responsible for sidewalks and bus stops. Individual homeowners are. And if individual homeowners don't clear their sidewalks or they don't clear their corner stop, yeah, it's gonna be snow. And there's gonna be snow out here on these bus stops probably for the next 2 or 3 weeks, because from my understanding, the temperature is not going to be, it's not gonna be anything less than freezing. So I wanna make sure people understand that we do take that in consideration, but because bus stops aren't clear, we're not gonna not have school. We sent some information out to the families to remind them, especially the babies, especially the young ones. If you gotta take your child to the bus stop, you can take them out there. Please make sure that they're out there safely. Please make sure that they are out there safely, standing safely. Our bus drivers know to slow down as they're coming to the bus stops, to be very aware. But I just wanted to make sure everybody understood what the process was of clearing those sidewalks and clearing those bus stops. That's not a school thing, and it's really not a city thing. It's now something that the city can hold homeowners accountable for, but the school district doesn't have anything to do with clearing those bus stops. So, but we do take that in consideration, but it's not the determining factor on whether or not we're going to be in school. And lastly, again, I want to take a moment to show my appreciation to the board for the opportunity that you have presented. I'm going to do the best I can. There are a lot of expectations, but I think all of you know, and Ms. Kilgore, I hope you get to know that Trotwood-Madison is where my heart is. I got a graduate, I got 2 graduates actually, and I got a child who's in the district right now. So this place means enough to me to bring my children here. It means enough for me to help lead this place, and I really believe that we've got a lot of great things going. We've got a good team, and we're gonna do the best we can to push this district forward. Right? I know that was a lot, but I wanted to make sure I shared that information with you, because you can't win for losing. Some people want you to close school. Some people want you to be in, to stay home.
I'm glad you addressed it, because when I was in the PD shop, that's exactly what I heard. Why was Trotwood open today? It's too cold outside. And I said the same thing you said. This is the only meal some kids are going to get. This is a safe place, but like I said, you can't win for losing.
Yeah, you can. You can. I got 4 or 5 emails on one side and 4 or 5 on the other side. So I just kind of do my thing in the middle and try to make the best decision for the district. All right. That's all I got.
Thank you.
No problem.
Step item number 9, board comments, and we will start with Mrs. Currington.
I first would like to say congratulations, Mr. Howard. I am so happy for you. I think when I first met you, you were building principal.
Problem.
At-
Assistant principal.
Assistant
Yeah,
principal.
yeah.
So it's nice to see how far you have come.
Appreciate it.
I'm excited about what this new year has to hold, and I'm so excited about working with everybody once again. And I thank you all for coming to these meetings and looking like you want to be here. I appreciate that. And thank you for sharing my birthday with me. Welcome, Ms. Kilgore. Nice to have you, and I hope that you enjoy your time with us. And Ms. Allen, I'm going to say this until you leave. I don't know what we're going to do without you. And the big thing is, I missed the Trotwood Dunbar game. My husband was sick, and I am upset about it. I want a rematch. I was all excited about coming, and he was sick, and then I know, but I want to see it.
You'll get to see it twice this year.
Twice? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Howard, for reading. You just, I'll keep it quiet. Thank you. And thank you, Howard family, for coming and supporting Mr. Howard. We appreciate that. And to Mrs. Kilgore, husband, welcome. Thank you for coming to our meeting. And Eric, thanks for getting me together. But you're going to be upset about it in a moment. And I'm just happy to be here. Today is a beautiful day. Any day that I'm above ground, I think, is a great day. And I'm just excited about the work we're gonna do in 2025. That's all. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Mrs. Kilgore, I don't wanna put you on the spot, but if you have any comments or anything you would like to say, feel free.
I just want to thank you all for having me. Thank you for the opportunity. It means a lot. I have two children also that attend Trotwood High School in third grade, a 10th grader, sophomore. So it's just exciting, a lot to learn, and I'm just excited to be here and just start this journey with you all. So thank you.
Thank you and welcome, Kim. Board member, Mr. Aaron Lumpkin.
Well, first, congratulations and welcome, Ms. Kilgore, and congratulations to you again, Marlon, on being the superintendent. And Happy New Year to all our families. And we understand that the coming off of the break started a little long, and we had a few days that we had to take off. And the only thing that I'll tell the community is just remember that our professionals make our decisions, and they always make the decisions in the best interest of our students. They aren't decisions that are made in a personal fashion. They have to think about the students holistically. And so we know that there's some people on both ends of the spectrum. There are people like my brother who says he went to school in 20-inch weather and blizzards, which he never did, you know. But and then there are other people who say we should have never sent him to school because it was so cold. But at the end of the day, it's like what Mr. Howard said, and we need to echo the fact that there are a lot of students in our district that the hottest meal and the safest environment are our school buildings. And any of you out there who like to complain a lot about that, just remember the statistics about our district, the statistics that we work through every day. And if you don't know them, go and research them, so that you understand that there's about 86% of our students that the safest and most stable environment is with the teachers, with our administrators, and in our buildings. And our community needs to understand that.
Thank you. Vice President, Mrs. Simmons.
Again, thank the board for allowing me to serve as vice president again, moving into this year. First off, secondly, welcome, Ms. Kilgore. We look forward to working with you. Any questions that you might have, don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us. Thanks again, Superintendent. Again, he does not take this job lightly. He's on the phone, figuring it out, informing us at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I commend him. He does that every day that the weather is bad. He keeps President Terry and I informed, and we get involved too. So he doesn't take this job for granted. So we know we made the right choice in choosing Marlon Howard as our superintendent, and look forward to him taking the district to the next level. Great job again, Janice, on your audit. We expect nothing less. We're definitely going to miss you and wish we could change your mind, but we know that's not possible. But we know you're going to leave us in the best shape possible. So we appreciate that and thank you for that. Again, happy birthday, Ms. Currington. Thank you for sharing your birthday with us. This shows our commitment to the district and to you all. We give up our personal time to share it with you. So again, happy birthday, Ms. Currington, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Well, that leaves me. First of all, I would like to say thank you for the board entrusting me as the president of the board. I want to say thank you to Mr. Howard for sharing that information about calamity days for our students, and just to piggyback off of the rest of the board members about our students. Our student safety comes first. Our students' best interest comes first. So I really appreciate you sharing that information. Ms. Kilgore, again, welcome, and we're gonna hit the ground running, but we're all here to support. One thing for certain and two things is for sure. I do believe that our goal is student achievement. So everyone on the board is for student achievement. I don't think it's any personal hidden agendas. So, with that being said, welcome again. And Mr. Howard, it goes without saying, I appreciate your thoroughness and all the information that you provided to us. And Happy New Year to everyone here. And now, I need a motion to move into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual per BOE Policy 0166 and ORC 121.22. Action may be taken.
I motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Condon?
Yes.
Ms. Allen, it's been properly moved and second. Will you call the roll?
Yes, Mrs. Carrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Yes.
Mrs. Kilgore? And Mrs. Cherry?
Yes, motion passes. We will move into executive session at 6:17.